Hello, this is KurossuElemenze. Welcome back to my Dragon Quest IX solo speedrun challenge. It unfortunately has been a little bit since I last posted, between some editing suggestions and trying to beat the timer on another Squeenix event. I haven't been able to finish this video yet. Hopefully, though, the recommendation by Krynos43, or DX Kramer, as he's known elsewhere, will actually be something that adds to the video. I'm sorry to say that it took me a while to figure out how I wanted to do it. I'm working with limited tools, and I'm sure I could have downloaded more, but I'm trying to make everything as authentic as possible. Right now you see our target of this current quest, the White Knight, who's been terrorizing Stornway. This is the boss that I say is a pain, especially for solo characters, and that right there is one of the major reasons. He has access to the heal spell, which at this point can heal up to twice the damage that I deal to him normally. He has access to Bolt Cutter, which is a thunder thrust of sorts. It does not have a critical chance as high as the actual spear skill, though. He has multi-thrust, which does up to 4 hits, so that's actually his most damaging attack. And the reason he gives me so much grief, especially single player, is it took me a while to find out where my safety threshold is, where I wouldn't be wasting magic by healing myself and still stay alive in case he went first. I found that if at level 11 I kept my health around 30 for my heals, then I'd be set. Another thing I need to mention is I just triggered my first coup de grace. Coup de grace is a special ability that you can use. It's based on what class you are, and if you have multiple characters with coup de grace already, you can sometimes do a combo. It's called co-op de grace, I think. The coup de grace of the minstrel is actually the main reason, or one of the major reasons I'm focusing as a minstrel. It increases my evasion, block, and parry rates, which is great for soloing. Unfortunately, it didn't seem to help me much in this rendition. It did, however, help me out a lot in my dry run, and unfortunately my dry run was so much more dramatic than this, and I guess I can live with this run because it looked pretty flawless. There was no real nail biters, but I did get lucky there. He only hit me 3 out of the 4 times. The more swings, the more chance to miss, I guess. So I've gone over his basic combat pattern, or he doesn't have a pattern so much as his abilities. Normal attack, his bolt cutter, his multi-thrust, and his heal. Other than that, he's pretty straightforward. I mentioned at the bottom his strengths and his weaknesses. He started out with 296 health, which is more than 4 times what I have, and he heals. He has enough mana to cast heal on himself, I think 120 times, so he can fill his health up ridiculously if the AI wanted to be obnoxious. Based on character jobs, I believe he's built off of a paladin class, perhaps. Just based on his backstory, that's going to be evolving more and more once we finish up the battle. Again, another close call. He got me down into the yellow, but as you can see on the bottom, I'm actually whittling it down. And on the bottom you'll see what I actually ended up spending most of my time focusing on. That life bar was recommended by, again, my friend DX Kramer, or Krynos43. He said that he wanted to see a more graphical representation, and I originally was doing it with the same display that I had for the the boss that I fought before in the pentagon, the hexagon. Wow. But the rounded edges made the scaling of the life bar actually bleed through, and it didn't look right. So I ended up having to redo the entire battle from basically this point here and set it all to square. The program I'm using was not very helpful. It set everything to the same opaque basic shell, so I just remade everything. As you can see, he's now dead, and with traditional boss experience I level up, and I continue to put points into shields now. He drops a pair of iron gauntlets, which is a welcome upgrade to my hand slot, and you get to know a bit more about the White Knight. He actually does talk. As you've noticed before the fight, he's obsessed with Princess Simona, and he's just come to realize that Simona is not Mona, and the game developers seem to have a sense of humor in naming them the same. Because as the story progresses, you'll notice that the people of Stornway recognize no heraldry from Brigadoon and share no history of it. So definitely a fourth wall there to even notice that. Fourth wall being the roleplay environment of the game and the reality that you know of everything as a player. That aside, I'm going back to Zier to rest at the inn because it's nighttime, so I can't get into the castle at Stornway to advance the storyline. And I'm trying to stay out of using the inn at Stornway, and during my dry run I tested it. The inn at Angel Falls is a longer walk with a lot more dialogue. So burning through my Chimera wings, I go ahead and go back to Stornway. Now that it's morning, I'll be able to get into the castle, thankfully. And straight to the castle I go. Don't pass go, don't collect 200 gold, which at this point of the game is still a significant chunk. But I would say that after that fight, I think I ended up taking 7 or 8 dry run attempts before I was successful. And that's primarily because the dry run, I would do it at level 10 first, or without upgrading my gear. And then there are just sometimes when the knight got ridiculously efficient at either healing himself or knocking me out, basically. Here you see the classic daughter thinking she knows best and being entirely sympathetic to the undead knight that came to court her, essentially. And she takes off, and the king says, "Hey, he's still out there, you're not getting paid." Whatever. He's kind of annoying like that, but he makes up for it in the end. And on your way out, the princess stops you and says, "Hey, listen," trying to take over Stella's job. Anyways, she asks you to her room, which, when I originally played this as a male character, had all sorts of social stigmata, I'm sure. But she says, hey, wait, Brigadoon does exist. I know of it. My nanny used to sing about it. Maybe if you go talk to her, you'll find out more. So she's gone back to Zir, so now so do we. Straight into the town we go. And the first thing I'm going to do is, I believe, run and talk to her or pick up more Chimera Wings. Yep, more Chimera Wings. I don't want to get stranded somewhere, so first thing I do, drop another 100 gold, and then I head off to see the nanny. The nanny, thankfully, does not sound like Fran Fine, if you remember, but it gives you a nice little cutscene to remind you, hey, you are supposed to come here. These are the characters you're supposed to talk to. So, remember the character on the right. She joins in on the song here, but she's actually got relevance, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 bosses from now. Maybe a bit more. I lost exact count. And here they sing about the right knight, a paladin chevalier of an old country called Brigadoon. He left to go fight a horrible monster and never returned, and he was supposed to be wed when he did. And now that this is all done, it is my time to say, I hope you enjoyed the fight, hope it was worth the wait, hope the bar was worth it. Have a good time, and much like the last time, I am going to go ahead and show you my current gameplay time so that it can be compared against the next video. Until then, have a good day.